The first whispers. The sun blazed down on the small town of Derry, Maine in the summer of 1978. School was out, and the air was alive with the laughter and chatter of children at play. A group of 7 friends, bound together by their love for adventure and their status as misfits, wandered through the whispering woods, exploring the mysteries hidden within its dense foliage. One afternoon, as they ventured deeper than ever before, they stumbled upon a secret. A large oak tree stood tall and proud, its branches twisted and gnarled, hiding something within its embrace. A tree concealed by the leaves, its presence only betrayed by the old rickety ladder that led up to its entrance. Curiosity piqued. The friends ascended one by one, and upon reaching the small wooden door, they entered the dimly lit space. The tree was filled with the smell of old wood and damp earth. In the corner they found a heavy, tattered book, bound in cracked leather and covered with dust. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and cryptic writings, in a language they could not decipher. As the days went by, the children found themselves drawn to the trees, spending hours poring over the book, attempting to unlock its secrets. They soon began to have nightmares, terrifying dreams that seemed to reach into the depths of their souls, drawing forth their darkest fears. In these nightmares, a sinister presence stalked them, weaving in and out of the shadows, its whispers like a cold wind against the nape of their necks. The presence grew stronger with each passing night, and the children could feel it tightening its grip on their minds, gnawing at their sanity. One by one, the children began to disappear. At first, they vanished only in their dreams, their minds transported to a realm of darkness and despair. But soon their bodies followed, leaving behind empty beds and distraught families. The remaining friends grew desperate, the knowledge that they might be next, driving them to search for answers. The book, they realized, was the key. It was the doorway through which the entity had entered their world, and the means by which it had taken their friends. They knew they had to find a way to undo what they had done, or face the same fate. Armed with the love and loyalty that bound them together, the remaining friends faced their deepest fears. They returned to the trees, the book's pages fluttering wildly as if possessed in the dim light. They chanted the words they had come to understand, the words that would send the darkness back to where it belonged. The shadows twisted and writhed, and the whispers grew louder, deafening in their fury. The entity fought back, seeking to break their resolve, but the friends held fast, knowing that their love for one another was a force stronger than any darkness. Finally, the whispers began to fade. The shadows retreated, slinking back to the abyss from whence they had come. The friends collapsed, exhausted but victorious, as the first rays of the morning sun filtered through the leaves. With the banishment of the dark entity, the missing children reappeared, their memories of the ordeal hazy and incomplete. The tree crumbled, its wooden bones returning to the earth from which they had sprung. The book, its pages now blanked, disintegrated to dust. The friends, bonded by the harrowing experience, vowed never to forget the terror they had faced. They knew that the darkness they had conquered was never truly gone. It was simply waiting in the shadows, biding its time for a chance to return. The Whispering Woods would forever hold their secret, a reminder of the courage they had shown and the battle they had fought. As the years went by, the friends grew up and moved away, their lives taking them on different paths. Yet, the memories of that fateful summer remained etched in their minds. They kept their promise, meeting every few years to remember the whispers that had once haunted their dreams and the darkness they had banished together. The town of Derry, unaware of the terrors that had lurked in the Whispering Woods, continued on as it always had. But the friends knew better. They understood the fragility of the barrier between light and darkness, and they remained vigilant, their bonds stronger than ever. They had faced the abyss and emerged victorious, and they would continue to stand as guardians against the darkness, prepared to confront it once more if the whispers ever returned. The Shadow Lurker. The years had passed, and the small town of Derry had moved on from the strange events that had once transpired in the Whispering Woods. The legend of the mysterious trees and the dark entity had become a distant memory, fading into the realm of myth and folklore. Yet, whispers of an ominous figure lurking in the woods persisted, shared in hushed tones by children at sleepovers and round campfires. A new generation had grown up in the shadow of the legends, and now they too began to experience the creeping dread that had haunted their predecessors. Late at night, strange noises echoed through the woods, an eerie chorus that seemed to call out to those who would listen. When several children disappeared without a trace, the town was thrown into a state of panic. The whispers grew louder, and the darkness that had once been banished seemed to be reaching out from the past, seeking to reclaim its hold on the town. Determined to uncover the truth and free their town from the grip of fear, a group of curious teenagers ventured into the Whispering Woods. They carried with them the stories passed down from their parents, but they were ill-prepared for the horror that awaited them. The deeper they went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The shadows seemed to writhe and dance, forming twisted shapes that seemed to watch their every move. The air grew colder, and the whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices that threatened to drown out all reason. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the teenagers stumbled upon a clearing at the heart of the woods. There, amidst the darkness, they encountered the source of the whispers, the Shadow Lurker. The creature was a malevolent spirit, its form an ever-shifting mass of darkness, its eyes glowing with a sinister hunger. It was a being that fed on the fear of the lost children, growing stronger with each terrified soul it consumed. The teenagers were paralyzed with terror, realizing too late that they had walked into the lair of the very thing they sought to defeat. The Shadow Lurker approached them, its whispers now a guttural growl, as it reveled in the fear that emanated from its prey. In the face of this unimaginable horror, the teenagers found strength in one another. They remembered the tale of the 7 friends who had come before them, and how they had triumphed over darkness through love and loyalty. Drawing upon their own bonds, they fought back against the Shadow Lurker, refusing to let it consume their fear. The battle raged through the night, as the teenagers and the creature engaged in a desperate struggle for control. The darkness seemed insurmountable, but the teenagers held firm, their spirits buoyed by the love they shared. At the break of dawn, the Shadow Lurker faltered, weakened by the light and the unwavering resolve of the teenagers. With a final defiant roar, the creature dissipated into the shadows, vanquished for the moment. The missing children were found, dazed and disoriented, but alive. The town of Derry breathed a sigh of relief, and the legend of the Whispering Woods gained a new chapter. The teenagers had faced the darkness and survived, their bravery a testament to the power of love and friendship. But deep within the woods, the whispers persisted, the Shadow Lurker lying dormant, waiting for the day when fear would once again call it forth. And the town of Derry would forever remember the night when the darkness had almost reclaimed them, and the Forgotten Ones. A chill wind swept through the small town of Derry, Maine, as a group of paranormal investigators arrived. Drawn by the sinister reputation of the Whispering Woods, they had heard the stories of the Shadow Lurker and the darkness that had been banished by brave children, but they were searching for something even more elusive: the chilling accounts of the Forgotten Ones. The Forgotten Ones were children who had wandered into the woods and never returned. Their faces adorned the walls of the local police station, their stories passed down in hushed whispers, a dark stain on the town's history. The investigators, driven by a desire to uncover the truth and bring closure to the grieving families, set out to explore the woods and uncover the ancient curse that had claimed so many innocent lives. As they delved deeper into the mystery, the investigators found that the origins of the curse stretched back to the very founding of Derry. It seemed that the town had been built on land long considered cursed by the indigenous tribes, a place where malevolent spirits roamed freely, seeking to consume the living. The investigators discovered that these spirits were drawn to the children's fears, using them as a gateway to enter the physical world. Once a child had been lured into the woods, the spirits would torment them with nightmarish visions, feeding on their terror until they were swallowed by the darkness. Armed with this knowledge, the investigators knew they had to confront the demonic forces that had plagued the Whispering Woods for centuries. They entered the woods at dusk, shadows lengthening around them as they ventured deeper into the heart of the darkness. As night fell, the woods came alive with the whispers of the Forgotten Ones, their voices echoing through the trees like a mournful dirge. The investigators felt the weight of despair pressing down on them, the spirits seeking to break their resolve and claim their souls. The investigators fought back, using their knowledge of the supernatural to protect themselves from the onslaught of the spirits. They chanted ancient incantations and wielded sacred relics, driving the demons back and severing their connection to the physical world. The battle raged through the night, the ethic with the tension of the struggle between light and darkness. Finally, as the first light of dawn broke through the trees, the spirits retreated, forced back into the shadows by the strength and determination of the investigators. In the aftermath of the battle, the spirits of the Forgotten Ones were released, freed from the torment of the malevolent spirits that had held them captive for so long. The town of Derry breathed a collective sigh of relief, as the darkness that had haunted them for generations was finally lifted. The paranormal investigators departed, their mission complete, But with the knowledge that the forces of darkness were never truly defeated, merely held at bay, they knew that they must remain vigilant, for the day would come when the shadows would rise once more, and they would be called upon to defend the town and its children from the evil that lurked in the Whispering Woods. For now, though the woods were silent, the whispers of the forgotten ones fading into memory as the town of Derry moved forward, free from the grip of the ancient curse that had haunted them for so long. The echoing screams. On the outskirts of the Whispering Woods, a new housing development sprouted. A testament to the town of Derry's growth and prosperity, families moved into the freshly built homes, eager for a fresh start in this idyllic community. At first, life seemed perfect. The houses were beautiful, the neighbors friendly, and the woods provided a picturesque backdrop. But soon the children of the new residents began to experience something unsettling. They heard whispers in the night, echoing through the trees like the tortured screams of the damned. They saw ghastly apparitions, their faces twisted in agony, lurking in the shadows. The parents, eager to maintain the illusion of their perfect new lives, dismissed their children's fears as mere nightmares or the overactive imaginations of impressionable young minds. But one mother, Sarah, began to notice that her daughter Emily's claims were too consistent to be dismissed. As the incidents grew increasingly violent, with children waking up with scratches and bruises, Sarah realized that she could no longer ignore the horrifying reality. The woods held a terrible secret, and it was reaching out to claim the innocence of her daughter and the other children. As determined to protect her family, Sarah delved into the dark history of the Whispering Woods. She sought out the few remaining residents who knew of the town's haunted past and listened to their tales of the Shadow Lurker, the Forgotten Ones, and the ancient curse that had once held the town in its grip. Sarah realized that the new development had unknowingly disturbed the fragile balance that had kept the darkness at bay. The malevolent spirits that had once been confined to the depths of the woods were now free to roam, preying on the fear of the unsuspecting children. Armed with the knowledge of Derry's haunted past, Sarah confronted the supernatural forces that threatened her family. She reached out to the paranormal investigators who had once saved the town, enlisting their aid in her desperate battle against the darkness. Together they waged a war against the spirits that sought to consume the children's souls. The battle was fierce, the investigators' arcane knowledge and Sarah's love for her daughter proving to be a powerful force against the evil that had been unleashed. With each confrontation, the spirits grew weaker, their hold on the children gradually loosening. The whispers that had once filled the night began to fade, replaced by the comforting sounds of laughter and play. The apparitions vanished, the tortured souls that had been trapped in the woods finally finding peace. As the final spirit was banished, the woods fell silent. The echoes of the screams that had haunted the town for so long finally silenced. Sarah had saved her family, and in doing so, had restored peace to the town of Derry. But deep within the heart of the Whispering Woods, the darkness lay dormant, waiting for the day when the echoes of the past would once again rise to reclaim the souls of the innocent. The reckoning of the lost. Years had passed since the last encounter with the malevolent forces that haunted the Whispering Woods. The town of Derry had enjoyed a period of peace, its residents lulled into a sense of security by the quiet that had settled over the woods. But unbeknownst to them, the dark entity that had once held the town in its grip was not vanquished. It was merely biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the anniversary of the first battle with the darkness approached, a palpable sense of unease began to spread throughout the town. The air grew heavy, and an inexplicable chill seeped into the bones of even the bravest residents. The once Whispering Woods now screamed in torment, as if the very trees themselves were in agony. Recognizing the signs of the coming storm, the survivors of the previous encounters with the darkness reached out to one another, knowing that they would once again be called upon to defend their town. They're older now, their lives marked by the scars of their past battles, but their resolve remained unbroken. As they gathered together, they knew that this would be their final stand against the entity that had plagued Derry for generations. They would face the darkness, and they would either emerge victorious, or they would be consumed by the very shadows they sought to banish. Guided by the spirits of the lost children who had been trapped in the woods for so long, the survivors ventured deep into the heart of the Whispering Woods, where they came face to face with the dark entity that had haunted their nightmares for so long. It was a monstrous shape-shifting force, its form constantly shifting between the visages of the children it had stolen from their families. As the battle began, The survivors discovered that their fates were inextricably linked to the lost children of the Whispering Woods. Each of them had been touched by the darkness in some way, their lives forever changed by their encounters with the malevolent spirits that had sought to claim them. As the survivors fought against the dark entity, they began to uncover long-buried secrets that had been hidden from them for generations. They learned that the curse that had befallen Derry was not merely the result of a chance encounter with the supernatural, it was the manifestation of an ancient evil that had been unleashed by the very founders of the town. With this newfound knowledge, the survivors realized that they had the power to break the curse once and for all. They would no longer be mere pawns in the darkness's twisted game. They would be the instruments of its destruction. The battle raged on, the darkness desperately trying to cling to the souls it had ensnared. But the survivors were relentless, their determination and love for one another a force that could not be overcome as they fought. They began to unravel the threads of the curse, each one a chain that had bound them to the darkness for so long. As the final thread was severed, the dark entity let out a terrible, anguished scream, its form dissolving into a cloud of darkness that was swept away by the wind. The curse was broken, the lost children of the Whispering Woods finally free to find peace. The town of Derry would never forget the sacrifices of the survivors who had fought so bravely to save them from the darkness. The legacy of the Whispering Woods would live on, a reminder of the courage and love that had triumphed over the most insidious of evils.